There we go. That's enough of that. Okay, stop. Good morning, everybody. Here we are, Saturday morning, 6th of January, with our latest Supremo YouTuber. Go on, Gary, tell them the news. Oh, let me just get on. People that get distracted.
You're rather funny, aren't you?
I'll just put a blank screen up there. We'll talk about the news later. So he got over the line. He got over the line.
I got over the line. I was over 4,000 hours a good month ago, but it took quite a while to get over 1,000 subs. So thanks everybody for the support. Waza, Todd.
G'day, Dave. How you doing? So yesterday, so my video that I shot yesterday is already out of date. He told us that he made 55 cents yesterday. So now you're rolling it at what, 99, was it?
Yeah, 99 cents.
99 cents, man. Yay.
Doubled. At this rate, by 22:05, I'll be pretty wealthy.
But that BMW on the fourth floor of was it M Sphere? Sorry, it's going to be a few lifetimes before we can afford one of those.
It was pretty sweet.
What was it? How much was that? 2.9 million. Yeah.
Pot, not US dollars, pot.
2.9 million. Yeah, exactly. So today we're going to. David always comes up with subjects to talk about, so we might as well talk about David's subject today, which is Thai language. So what he said before there was, I've decided to take the big plunge. I have signed up for 10 one-hour lessons. That is 1 hour per week online with a Thai language tutor. Cost $50 US per month. Slow and steady wins the race. Exactly. A little bit of Thai under your belt never hurts.
No.
I've certainly learned enough over the we're coming up to 15 years in 2 weeks. 18th of January, 15 years together. Yeah. So, and of course my Thai is absolutely rubbish. I got an example we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
So wait, just stop for a second. You said January 18 is your 15-year anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to have a couple shots on January 13th
well, no, because
to honor that.
Okay. Yeah. Then we got Todd's birthday on the 26th.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, like I have been sort of. I've decided this year. I don't make New Year's resolutions, but I've got to do things better. So I've actually got a calendar going now. Properly got a calendar going now. So, so we got Todd's birthday, 25th of Todd's birthday, Chinese New Year on the 26th, Australia Day on 26th, full moon 26th. What else? Warren's birthday, 1st of February. There we go. And then, of course, 2nd of February will be the meetup. So we'll be able to have a few beers for my birthday on the 2nd.
Yes.
What else we got? We got Jen Desperado in Pattaya coming to Salia on the 27th of February. So
by the way, on that same note of calendar, it looks like we're going to go to Pattaya on February
the 16th.
What did you say? Well, I put it in my calendar last night. It's not there now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there we are. 27, 8, and 9.
Yeah, this Bangkok event. So I'm trying to get. I would like to let this one launch so we can sort of this is the group events rather than see my private calendar. We can sort of just see the group event things that we're trying to work out. And I've also been just told that we got Colton coming from the USA on April. He's here for 2 weeks. If you want a link to this calendar to add to your Google calendar, you're quite welcome. Just hit me up on Discord or somewhere and I'll be able to share the link to the calendar. And we're going to try to get this populated over the, sort of get things a bit more organised because trying to stay organised in Thailand is impossible. Anyway, enough of my calendar. But yeah, so I'm not saying New Year's resolution because I know how bad I'm at resolutions, but I'm going to make an effort to try to get the calendar up and running. And so anytime anybody says something to me about something happening, make sure I get my phone out and put it in my fucking phone, okay? Exonello, g'day, how you doing? As we said, I said to Stephen and good. Thai language, there seems to be a bit of a hot topic. We should do more of this. Okay, I don't let on how much Thai I do know, and I try to avoid Thai because I get situations like this. Like, did I mention it last week on the stream? I can't remember, but it was Friday a week ago. I'm looking for the sweet chili sauce. Tinai Nikraman, or Nam Pikwan. Tinai Nam Pikwan. Right. And they're looking at me. What am I saying? Tinai, where is, Tinai Nam Pikwan, which is sweet chili sauce, well, sweet chili wan, nam, water, prick, chili, wan, sweet, there's the three words. But it is nam prick wan. If you look at the translators, or most translators will say nam prick wan. Anyhow, Chandra just says, no, we say nam jim wan, which is, high tone, falling tone, rising tone. But of course, I didn't really hear the tones because she doesn't really do her tones very obvious. Laziness, I think, on the Thai behalf.
That's second nature to him.
Right, and thank you. Nam Jim one, and they just started laughing.
No.
If you said they're like,
No.
you probably can't read it. Yeah, there we go. This is why you got to get your tones right, because you don't want to put clitoris juice on your sandwich. Well, some people might. Some people might want to put Why? Seriously, I look at the language, I'm going, honestly, couldn't you have found two different dissimilar words that wouldn't be so obviously so close to each other? Oh, my God.
They're written very different.
Oh, yeah, well, they are. You can see that the writing is like,
If you go right down to the bottom, it'll show you the difference.
yes, and Jim.
Yeah.
It's just the tone on top of the gin.
Yeah, that's just the tone. Yes, it's just it's annoying. Let's to say the least. Yeah, just got to get your tones right. Okay. Good morning, Robert. How are you?
Just never say that word.
Yeah, I'll just stick to Nam Pick one. Okay, it's just, for me that's a bit more universal, and the translating apps they definitely sort of support my my stance on this. It might not be so colloquial Thai, but yeah. Very hard to get tones right now, especially when you lose 30%. I could imagine, Robert, that must be a little bit of a challenge. Again, Ben's going to be going through the similar thing, having to learn language, once he's up to that level. And definitely out there looking for a walking stick for him. I think if we get him a nice walking stick, something, macho. I think I have I've got a picture in my head of something with a dragon head and flames down the stick.
No,
All I got to find one.
Get a branch and wrap barbed wire around it, and you'll be fine.
Okay, we're just going to just seed the chaos sphere, and then it'll just appear in one of the markets. Come on. Yes. Okay, Billy, g'day. Sorry, PMI. Has anyone been to Wantani? Going there next week? I can't say I have, but I've had a few people go through there. They all rave about how nice it is up in Isan. Not so much in summertime when it's like sort of 42, 43 degrees. But this time of the year it's pretty good. And so we're off to Sukhothai next Monday, so we've got 3 days up there, so we'll probably get a couple of videos, and hopefully we'll organise ourselves to actually get a live stream going on Monday night. Again, like last two chances to do Monday nights was impossible because of Christmas and New Year, but such is life. Many times before, Billy, but not for the last 12 years. Okay. What was it like up there, Robert? Was it fun? What's there to do up in Wantani? Give him a chance to catch up with the delay and everything else.
A bit like my brain, Rick. Got to catch up with the delay going on.
What did you send me? Am I safe to open that or what?
I didn't send you anything.
Oh, okay. It's Patia, February 27, 29. Okay, right. Good. Okay, we got that. I'll put that in later since I've got a reference point to it. Okay. Yeah. So I said, Dave started this whole thing with the whole language core thing. So yeah, you can do like me and learn Thai via osmosis. Then keep on calling chili sauce and vagina juice. Or you can go and get some lessons. um, some cities in Isan are cheap and cheerful. Khon Kaen, Ubon Ratchathani, yes, yes. People more friendly in Isan than Bangkok. Well, again, I think that's just Bangkok. It's it's such a multicultural, multi everything, everything all at once. Out here, our neighbours are all happy and cheerful and want to have a chat with, well, not so much with me. They say hello to me and then they chat with mum. You know it is. She's a translator. But we've got the kids in the street. It's just a lovely, pleasant place to live. No, but I do know what you mean. The city's a little bit more weird when it comes to that. People are a little bit more closed off because there's too many people. But everybody else, like Sukhothai, when we go up Sukhothai, it's just country town. It's like going through Tamworth. People are just happy to see you. You're not so obviously a Farang up in Tamworth, but they're friendly people. I think it's probably they listen to too much country music, obviously, or something like that. I'm sure there's some reason behind it. But then again, they don't have to deal with traffic, which I think that pisses most people off. Anyway, getting back to this language stuff, I thought I'd just share a couple of sites I do use on a regular basis. The first one here is called thailanguage.com. This has been running for quite some years, and I highly, if you're just looking for resources out there, they've got categories, forums, of course. We are streaming now, and this is not a very fast site, but goes through your consonants. You've got a forum so you can discuss things with people, but more to the fact that you've got these categories and reference things. So you get your tone rules. It gives you a bit more of an insight. And I would think anybody that wanted to go and spend money to go and talk to a Thai and get some Thai lessons, using some sort of written resource would be quite handy to get a bit of pre-knowledge, which then can be confirmed rather than going in sort of cold turkey. So take a note of that one. Learning Thai is like quitting smoking. I've done it dozens of times. Okay. The second site, categories. They're right. So you can get into. There's one here I tend to make reference to from time to time. Is it that one or is it reference? Grammar, writing, special interest. Okay, I can't quite find it just off the top of my head. I won't bother trying to bore you with me looking at something. This is another one I find extremely useful as well, because when you get anything written in Thai, and I have nothing as an example right now, which is useful or useless. Let me go to one of my 3-minute Thai lessons. Oh, that's an audio one. I don't want. There we go. So you'll find things popping up on Facebook, for instance. So what you do is you copy it into this one here and submit it. And what it does, it actually breaks down into its individual syllables. It helps you with your syllable pronunciation, and of course it gives you the Thai, so you can start looking at the Thai script. Sawadee ka, dichan chu, rai wai. What's that? No. I don't know what's that. Exactly why it has that letter in there, but it's obviously the way they say it. Blessing ka. Right, so it's a female speaker, but it helps you sort of break down those syllables. And I find that very, very helpful. And also the best thing is it gives you the tone markers before you actually learn the Thai script. Sa, wa, di, sa, wa. So it's falling tone, low tone, mid tone, sorry. can't remember the fucking way it goes around there. That one there, ka, which is a falling tone. D, D says low tone, chan. It says rising tone, so it helps you get your tone pronunciations. Do I need to make that bigger for you guys? I don't know. Would that help? But yeah, definitely sort of it's a resource. I mean, you just basically copy and paste things into there. Submit. What's that? Yindi tirarujak. Forget about the particle because I'm a guy. That would be club. But yindi, which is mid-tone, T, which is a falling tone, Dairu, right, is falling tone, high tone, Jak, which is low tone, Ka, falling tone. So again, it helps you with your pronunciations. You say that over and over again, you'll soon get used to it, if you know what I mean. So yeah, definitely highly recommend this site. Let's just go back to the thing, get you the link for that one. And I'll put that in the chat too. And the other one I also mentioned briefly before it started was this is the subscription I currently have, which is my Thai learning course, Thai Pod 101. So, you've got different levels. There's a beginner course. I think my subscription finishes on March and it goes back to the non-paid subscription. But even at a non-paid level, there's good little learning aids in there. And they have a YouTube website as well, which goes along with it. And I would definitely sort of say, check this one out as well. 3 resources which would come in handy for anybody trying to get a handle on the Thai language. And of course, let's not forget about this one, and Todd can talk about this one.
That's the formal stuff I did. Cody did the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I came here when it was still partial lockdown because of COVID, so my first semester was online as part of a school group, and my brain working or not working sometimes. I used to stop when something was a bit quirky and missed out on half the lesson, so then I went to doing one-on-one once a week at the school itself. And I got to say, it was absolutely awesome. I'm not sponsored, I'm not endorsed by these guys, but it's just my experience going in there for an hour on a Friday. If something was quirky or I wanted to throw in a real life situation, which a lot of people do, you can't really do that in a classroom environment because you've got 14 other students as well, and the teacher's got to get through their curriculum in a certain amount of time. But when I did the one-on-one stuff, I could say, but yeah, what if this happened because this happened on the MRT to me? She would go off, explain what happened, why my response wasn't quite the correct response, and what to use next time. So if you want to do some type of like formal learning, I thought these guys were awesome. So and they help you through it. They've got their own textbook, so you're not using a cookie cutter textbook as such. It's their own textbook, which has worked around their curriculum. And the teachers that I had 4 teachers throughout my time there, very knowledgeable, very easygoing, and as you and I say, there's no such thing as an incorrect answer, and they're happy to, as you say, when you're involved with a conversation, Shania doesn't stop and say, that wasn't quite right, you didn't. These guys will pull you up and say, yep, you've got the right syntax, you've got the right words, but that tone wasn't quite right. And then you practice that word until you get it right. Yeah. And then you move back to the curriculum. So, but what did I do? 9 months of it, and that was enough foundation for me to get by on
the
doing
day-to-day stuff.
Yeah. And the rest I've picked up as I've gone along. But I'm not coming backwards if I'm involved with a Thai conversation. If I don't quite understand something, I'll say, Katot, stop, I'm sorry, Pom Mai Kao Jai, I not understand. And then it sort of goes back to that face saving thing where if you ask them in English to stop and everything like that, there's that awkward silence and everything. But if I ask them in Thai, hang on, I don't quite understand, can you put etc, can you say again? And that way I can say, put cha-cha, slow down,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
can
yeah, 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 yeah.
keep up with the conversation. And actually, there's some of the tricks that Fidel taught me.
Mm.
So, but that talking with Fidel, that was real life situation. So don't. The biggest takeaway I can put in it is don't be afraid to engage. As long as you're the one engaging,
Mm.
it takes all the pressure off the Thai person you're engaging with.
Yeah, and
So
it can be quite difficult learning with your partner because you're always trying to tread on eggshells to say the right thing and not, get people riled up. Whereas
yeah,
with you and Fidel, just two drinking buddies,
yeah,
he can be critical without,
yeah,
losing face.
yeah. Oh yeah,
Again, it's one of those. There's a lot of little dynamics you can really sort of build upon on that.
yeah.
First thing, of course, you need to make a decision to actually come over here and take up Thai lifestyle and Thai life. That means getting out of the rat race, doesn't it, Jerry?
So two things let me share real quickly. One, what you just said, be careful with your partner because he or she will get used to your words
Mm,
even if they're not correct. So you got to make sure that you're not using them too much if they're not willing to correct you on the tones, etc. The other thing, I always recommend learning how to read Thai because if you use the English translation, some work and some words just do not, and
yeah,
it'll screw you up. So take the time to learn how to read Thai. It's memorization. It's not crazy. It's not hard to do if you're willing to put the time in. But when you learn how to read Thai, you will know the correct way to say the words. You still have to learn the tones, but you will know an ah versus an o and an
mm,
eh versus an a.
yeah,
And that
yeah,
makes all the difference in the world when it comes to learning Thai, in my
yeah.
opinion.
I was going to use some examples here, like another resource, and don't be afraid to use this, but um, uh, ChatGPT has gained free resource. You can ask it this, what does it think is the most common way to say words in Thai, right? Yeah, so and this is okay. Um, how do why you say sweet
Sweet chili
SWE
sauce.
so high LL chili sauce. CSCE, God can't, in the language. And INCLUD ANIZE romanized Thai. And it comes up with, yes, she's telling me Nam Jim one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Here is the romanized Nam Jim one, but that's not really helpful
no,
because it doesn't get
doesn't have phonetics.
doesn't have the tones. But it's,
Yeah,
again, it's another resource that you can put on your phone, and you can actually, like on the phone, it's got a voice. You can actually talk to your phone, and it will do it. But I'm just doing it here because of the fact that we've got microphone locked up in the other app here, so I can't use my microphone here. But you get the idea. There's a number of different resources that are available, which will really sort of quite help, get helpful, kicking you off on the Thai language. Uh, so yeah, I don't know. So it's a good discussion point. Anyway,
the only other thing I'll throw in there is be careful of Royal Thai versus Common Thai.
yeah,
Hmm.
Um, that's the other thing that Fidel pointed out to me, that I'd get excited that I'd learnt a couple of things and wanted to practice them with him,
mm,
and he'd look at me and go, "Yeah, but that's not how you talk normally. This is the normal, everyday version of what you're trying to say. How you're trying to say it is like if you were speaking to a government official, which is fine
mm,
because if you need to go to immigration or DLT or somewhere like that, if you can speak Royal Thai or formal Thai, yeah, that's great. But when you're sitting at your local on a plastic deck chair and
mm,
having a couple of Leos, you don't want to say, "Excuse me, sir, can you please pass the bottle of Leo?" You say, "From
yeah.
our Leo quite." So I want that beer bottle. So
Give me
that's
beer.
one of that's one of those quirky things. But if you can sort of do differentiation between Royal Thai or formal Thai and common Thai. It does help, but again, that's all about the face and the respective situation. So you respect up and respect down type situation.
And of course, we've talked about this one as well, which is the thing that they were talking about. The app, the device itself. What's going on my screen refresh? Yeah, so the trouble with this, these are a subscription model. So that's the $299 US version, which is a full-blown device, has buttons for talking and listening. There is the Fluent Talk Mini, which is that one there. It's the starting price there. Just remember Fluent Talk by time. What's going on my screen refresh? Anyway, yeah, so 1 year global data included for 36 languages. T1 Mini Translator provides real-time translation in 36 languages. Enjoy one-time mobile data plan. Right, so it comes with a SIM card, but you've got to buy the SIM card. So this device and Fluent Talk both, I would sort of say, use Royal Thai as the speaking vernacular. Which is good, it makes you sound formal and keeps everything on a formal level, but it doesn't teach you, localized Thai, But I will be using that next week, when I'm up in Sukhothai, because of the fact that I do get stuck with, the dialect, which makes it, what's coming soon? Yeah, anyway, so keep an eye out for those. I won't give you either. Just remember Fluent Talk. You can find it on Amazon. It's a few videos out by other vloggers here in Thailand that have actually covered it. I think they got sponsored or given the device that they could play with, so yeah, or they might have bought it as well. I've looked at them over the years until I actually get the little, badge communicator and the Starship, Star Trek design. I'm not going to get one of those. I'll just use my phone.
The tricorder.
Oh no, in fact the tricorder. I got a tricorder here. There's a tricorder here. It doesn't flip. You can get the new Oppo Flip. That's more like a tricorder. The Oppo Flip. But yeah, unfortunately, the talking translator, we couldn't find an Apple version, and Todd was given a task to go and find an Apple translator that did the same thing, and he's struck out
Can't
there.
find one. Yeah.
So sorry, Apple users.
Yeah.
Keep on buying Apple. I like my share portfolio to get bigger, okay?
Well, considering the photos I took of you last night with your camera, I wouldn't buy yours. Sorry, dude.
I hadn't rebooted that for like 8 weeks. Come on, I rebooted and it's running fine again.
He said, "What's taking you so long to take the picture?" Well, when I press, it just freezes.
It was there because I had just too much baggage. You got to restart them every month, And it was New Year, and I had a whole bunch of updates, that day. So anyway, but it worked after that. It worked fine after like when we were at Susie's place, it was working just all right.
Well, I was taking better pictures at a different location, and you were mad at me. What's taking you so long?
Yeah, well, okay. Well, one of the pictures. Now we're going to talk about the pictures. There we go.
Yeah. While you're finding them,
there's some cuties there.
There you go.
But the picture looks good. It's a good looking picture, though. Come on.
It does. They help it out a lot.
Yeah.
David's still talking about the language.
Yeah, well, that's all right. We'll get back to that.
In the long run, better to learn reading, writing, speaking Thai all at once rather than wasting time. It depends on how comfortable you are in reading Sanskrit. A lot of people find it difficult to read Sanskrit. But if you find sort of picking up on characters rather than letters, totally agree. Go the whole hog.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want to be is frustrated with the learning process.
Well, comfort is one, but you need to just take it at least one level higher to make you stretch. Throwing yourself in the deep end, it's a sink or swim. But again, look, I said, that's what Cody did. He went to Duke Language School and he did sort of 9 months at Duke Language School, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And he's pretty much speaking fluent Thai now. Well, to a degree, as you'd the Americanized version of fluent Thai. Because I think some of the things he says are just that's with an American tongue, and that's the thing that prevents me also when I think about what do I say, because like how many times you're in Australia and you hear the Chinese trying to talk, English,
Yeah.
and you're just going, oh come on. And then I just flip the switch, and I'm going, how must I sound like a Thai speaking Thai with an Australian accent?
Yeah.
It must be so wrong. Which, again, I don't like to offend people. Anyway,
Well, you
go on.
find that a lot of Thai people, if you have that little bit of the relationship
Mm,
going,
mm.
um, they are more than happy that you've actually made an effort.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you've made the effort, and at least you've attempted it, with a smile on your face, don't growl and say I'm frustrated or whatever. If you say it with a smile on your face, like, hang on, I want to give it a go because I want to get involved, you'll find 99% of the time they will be stoked about it.
Mm.
So the best advice I can give is use it. That's the only way you'll learn if it's the right way or the right situation. And if you use it in a friendly demeanor,
Mm.
you won't look back. Seriously, you won't look
And
back.
like I got in the taxi last night from Laksong there, and jumped in the taxi, bye, put them on say ha, and he just turns around and says, "Oh yeah, I know that place," in English.
Yeah.
You never know how much how much English they know either.
Well, that's the whole thing. He obviously felt comfortable that you tried speaking Thai with him,
Mm.
that he would speak English with you,
Mm.
because it is a lot of people, a lot of Thai people are reticent in trying to speak English because they don't, as you mentioned and Jerry and I mention all the time, they don't want to lose that face. So they're afraid of getting it wrong. So if a Thai person does speak English with you, don't correct them. Please do not correct them, because if it's in a common situation,
Mm.
they're going to lose face if you turn around and say, no, that's not right, because they've made the effort. Praise them for making the effort.
Mm.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then as the relationship builds, then you can start the little corrections.
Yeah.
So
And Robert,
that's just
Robert
the
did
tip.
Robert did point out there. Sorry, formal Thai and royal Thai. Yes, don't get them
Yeah.
confused. This website here does the formal Thai when you start
Thank
getting
you,
into
Robert. Yes,
you
just
know,
me
Gorkai,
misusing my words.
so
Mm.
right. So they actually refer to it as Royal Thai General System, but they actually mean the formal Thai. This is where I
Yeah.
get confused. Like this is a website doing Thailand. They actually call it Royal Thai General System,
Mm.
which is the formal Thai. It's not Royal Thai as you would speak to the royalty. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is Thailand. Just get used to
yeah.
it.
We don't have to worry about speaking to royal Thai, so
Yeah,
No.
yeah,
leave that
that's it.
out of our vernacular.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
well,
exactly.
I get confused because I remember one of my teachers saying, "This is the royal formal tie," and then the other ones would say, "This is the formal tie."
Hmm.
So it's what's probably the best way? High so tie compared to low so tie? I
Yeah, I
don't
think
know.
maybe we should probably call it Hyso Thai. Yeah. But you know what I mean. But it is like you learn at your own pace, and it's when you got to get out of your comfort zone, but not into a depth that you just can't cope, because then you just shut down. We all go through that, even if you're like me, sort of always trying to stretch, the neural synapses. I do. I feel like Johnny Mnemonic. I need a RAM upgrade.
Where was I? I was somewhere the other day, and someone's talking about 14.4K modems and 28.8K modems, and I'm going, okay, that's an update thing I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah.
That's slightly off tangent, but on the lines of what you're talking about.
What was it? What was it? Cody's post yesterday on Facebook. His New Year's resolution was 2880 by 1440 or something like that.
Only nerds and geeks like me would have picked up on that. Like, the guy I was speaking to said, I used to do services in offices, and I could tell whether the network was right by listening to the dial tone.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
going, yeah, and I'm going, yes, because if it didn't lock in after 2 cycles, you knew it wasn't going to lock in.
I
So,
don't know. Did you ever hear the tones for a PEP modem? The Netcom PEP modems,
no, I
because
just
they
remember
had, yeah,
the difference between 14.4 and 28.8.
yeah.
Sorry if you're not computer
This is
orientated.
before that. Netcom brought out the PEP modem, which was a 1200 board plus their PP overlay, and it had some bells and whistles like you would never believe. But yeah, you always knew if you were actually dialing into a PEP modem. Anyway, that's how old we are. Shit. um, anyway, what have I missed on the chat there? Make sure we're keeping up with it. Yeah, actually, here are the best Apple apps okay. Pocket Tie Master, okay. Um, we'll get Todd to have a look at
I will
those.
go. Yeah, I'll go through those and do a breakdown next Saturday.
Hmm.
Thank you, Exile.
Yeah, got to keep our Apple partners, you know. And again, okay, I've got to do the shout out, right? We're trying to get Jerry to share his screen on Discord the other day, and I said, let me get Todd. He's the Apple expert. I'm not the expert. So we finally got Todd in and Jerry in the same, right? And they're trying to just work out how to get the permissions for Discord to stream his screen. And
Oh, it's a
like while they
team
were doing so, then of course I just found the page. There you go, there it is.
Well, it
team
took a
effort.
few, it took a few minutes, but you got it.
Well, I was just trying to steer clear of the situation because so people think I'm smart. No, all I do is know how to put the right thing into a search bar. That's all I know, right? I speak Brave. I speak Google. And it really is that's an art form in itself. That's another
Mm.
language. Um, yeah, how many languages do I know? Google search language. I know I know Taiwanese. I know geek. I know nerd. I know gamer. I know Australian, Scottish, a little bit of German, a little bit of French, a little bit of Japanese. But Thai is the one I find challenging. But anyway, moving right along, we speak 90%. Yeah, okay. So yeah, so again, that's the situation. Thai and the family, they want to speak English, and it can be a little bit on the frustrating side, especially when Shania tells me something in Thai. I say, send it to me in Messenger, right, written in Thai, because then I can copy it into that, and then I can get tones and everything. Because I just cannot pick her tones. I really can't. Um, and she doesn't make it any easier, to really emphasize the tones. But we'll get there. We'll get there, you know. But I find once I put it in there and say it a few times, it starts to sort of, it sits in the back, and finds its filing cabinet and slots it in there for later use. Anyway, I did want to talk about a news article that might interest a few people. Thailand lowers the wine and nightlife taxes to attract tourists. This came through on, well, it's been on the boil for a bit, but supposedly, beginning 2024, the cabinet has approved measures recommended by the Ministry of Finance to promote Thailand as a tourist destination. Well, they've been doing that for so long. I'm pretty sure they should have got it right by now. With the goal of increasing revenue from foreign tourists to 1.5 trillion baht. They issued measures to lower taxes on wine and community spirits. Okay, wine and community spirits. That's that Laokao stuff that we talk about all the time. As well as reduce the tax on entertainment or entertainment businesses from 10% of revenue to 5% of 5% for a 1 year ending 31st of December 2024. So this is a 1 year trial, and like most of these other successful trials, one of them being the visa extension things for China, they've found that to be sort of successful. So they try it, and they've got them out if it doesn't work, but if it works, they'll keep it in there. This will result in higher spending on both international tourists and Thais at all levels, therefore boosting the share of high quality tourists in the long run. Okay. So allowing wine less than 1,000 baht per bottle to be cheaper. there'll be sort of no excise on that, and they reduce the excise on the things that are higher. So they've taken tax off. I think they've got some numbers down here. Yeah, so the excise taxes for household spirits and rice branded spirits with an alcohol content of no more than 7 degrees. I think that's .0. So what is it? What is 7 degrees? I don't know how does that convert to what we milligrams or
I think that might be a typo.
yeah. So beer is what 5% alcohol, 6% alcohol. So I'm guessing that's 7% alcohol. No one have ever tried alcohol. That's like 77% alcohol.
Yeah.
But will now be based on the value at 0% instead of the previous 10%, and a tax rate of 150 baht per litre of pure alcohol content. So I'm guessing that's the Laocow stuff, the stuff that they can fuel engines with.
Yeah, I can make a Vulcan on it.
Yeah, I'm sure we can. As for the adjustment of the entertainment businesses and tax incentives, it is believed that these changes will encourage more informal business to formalise their operations and provide more flexibility to entrepreneurs. Before these measures, there were around 1,500 registered companies, but during COVID, the number dropped to around 700. Right, so I did find another article. They listed they listed US and European wine as attracting no export or import duties. So that's gone from 56 to 60% import duties is actually going to be zero import duties. And I'm going, what Australian wine's better? What are we going to miss out with Australian wine? Am I going to drink that English or European crap? Yeah. Now, mind you, that we're out. We did go to the what was the name of that Greek restaurant we went to? PopeKael? Jerry, was it? What was the Greek restaurant we went to a few weeks ago?
Aesop's.
Aesop's, yeah. They didn't have there was a couple of Australian wines on that list at an exorbitant price, but they wouldn't do it by the glass. But I did have that red that I was drinking, the French red. That wasn't too bad. It was like a Shiraz Cabernet. But it's just not the same as an Australian. I don't know. You guys have got no class. Australian wine's the best in the world. It really is.
Yeah, tell the French that.
Yeah, well, so you can't tell the French anything. Come on, we know that. Was it? What am I missing for? It's cheaper for B to speak. It's easier for B to speak English as he lives 30 years. Wine sure is a terrible deal. Yes, it's like things we would. Again, I don't know what the price of wine is in Australia. When I was buying wine in Australia, I'd buy a nice bottle of Tyrrell's for $7.50 a bottle. By the case or something like that. So what's that work out at?
Next week on Saturday, Tiki and I bought some Thai wine, 250 and 300 baht a bottle on sale. It's not traditional wine, but you'll taste it. I bet you'll like it. So we're gonna do a little shot of that wine.
Yeah, so like a bottle of wine, I would pay 174 baht for, converted in Australia. I'm seeing in the supermarket for like 700 baht. And
that's the excise.
Why? Is that to protect the beer industry? Because they don't really have there is wine grown here, but it's not really the right climate for it. And I have bought a couple of bottles, and I wasn't really impressed with the quality of wine that's made locally. Mind you, I've heard from people around that Pattaya region. There's a winery down west of Pattaya, isn't there?
There's one near Sattahip. If Marky Mark was online, I don't.
Where's Marky Mark?
Yeah, himself and Ronan went there not that long ago. I'm not sure whether he tried the wine, but I know Nan does like her red wine every now and again. But yeah, I find that if I'm in a warm climate, I find it difficult to drink wine, unfortunately, unless it's got a couple of ice cubes in it.
Yeah, Dallas saying he likes Barossa wines, but that's only because he comes from Texas. Um,
Yeah, Barossa wines, Ranella wines, McLaren Vale wines are three
they're
of the
good. But,
awesome areas to get wines from.
well, that's
Not that I'm
I keep on
saying,
saying I was only an hour's drive from the Barossa Valley, so from Newcastle. So
yeah. Oh,
Barossa,
well, there was a
Barossa.
winery that I used to get wine from there. I don't know if they're still running because of the lockdown or whatever. I haven't bought Australian wine for years. McWiggins. McWiggins used to make an awesome Cab Merlot.
What's that one? Never heard
All
of
right.
it.
Montcourt.
Montcourt. Okay.
Mangosteen fruit wine. Oh no, that's like fruit elixir. It's like that stuff you used to get in a cardboard box that you take down to the beach as a teenager.
Yeah. Wine coolers.
Yeah, wine coolers.
You'll be surprised though. It's actually very tasty. It's not cheap shit.
Okay.
So it's Lalcal, but
So anyway, that is some of the Thai wine that we picked up. Now, for wine drinkers, it's not wine, and they're not going to like it. But it was actually pretty
Well,
good.
we'll try a glass next week. It's all
Yes,
right.
we
We'll
will.
try a glass next week. But yeah, okay. But if I see any wine up in Sukhothai, I'll bring a bottle of that. Well, I'll bring a bottle of alcohol. No, I think I'll just forget about bringing a bottle. Mind you, that Sukhothai Lauco is really quite nice. It's just one of those sort of things. It's like having your brain smashed out with a slice of lemon
yeah.
wrapped around a large gold brick.
Yes. Yeah, I don't think it's the Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster equivalent for Thailand.
Well, it's just white. It's just clear. It needs to be
Yeah.
needs to be a sort of yellow colour for the Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster. Maybe
I
we can
grew
get
up drinking grappa, which is the old European Lauco. Yeah.
My guy.
Robert buys Shiraz and drink. Well, I suppose you'd have to drink it cooled here because it's like wine at 32, 34 degrees Celsius. No matter what anybody says, it's just too hot. For a red wine, it should be drunk at about 8 to 10 degrees Celsius. In my opinion. And I tend to chill most of my reds anyway. Before serving. That sort of 4 degrees Celsius sort of mark, because it gets warm in the glass anyway. But it's bouquet and everything else. It's an experience, and of course you can't drink red wine without cheeses. But we do get a good range of cheeses over here. We've got some New Zealand cheeses in Big C, which
cheese, Metwurst,
Goudas, and
smoke oysters, olives.
Have you got cheese for next week? Maybe I'm going to bring a cheese plate with me.
I have cheese, but you're welcome to bring.
I'll bring a cheese. Well, we'll have to sort out a cheese plate. Bring something along. Question: to satisfy the financial requirements for 1 year visa or a long stay. Okay. Well, that's simple. You have to show 65,000 baht or more going into your bank account every month, and they will look at that statement for 1 year and they'll check it or have at least 800,000 baht in that bank account. But I watch them. I've seen them do mine because mine's got $1 million baht in it, but they're still going. That I still see
They
it
do month by month.
They still see a highlight. They highlight when the deposits are going in. But I noticed that the fact that they only highlight the 3 months after the first 3 months, and then they look at the last 2 months. They don't care in between. So they are doing, or in our immigration, they are, following the rules, which is 3 months after, 2 months before, sort of thing. But they still check, and I think because I've heard people sort of saying that they've got they had their Thai bank with 800,000 baht in it. It's just got 800,000 baht in it, and there's no transactions. So then they're being asked to come back every 3 months to show the bank statement again. Because how are you living here? There's no movement on that money. So it raises the question: well, is it your money or is it somebody else's money? So they make you come back and show bank statements at your 90-day reporting shit and things like that. So
if you're going to do that, though, have one bank account with the 800, then have another bank account for your living money, and bring that bank account with you, and they'll see that you're living off of another bank account. That's what I did.
Oh yeah,
for,
and
3 years.
that worked for you. Okay, yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
an way to go. Again, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the fact that you are supporting yourself, and that's the technical underlying rule. The fact that you're not leveraging your stay here off the Thai economy. You're putting the money into the economy, not taking it out of their economy. Anyway, and we'll get some clarification from Robert in a minute. Sean, good morning. I saw so it's Dallo. It can be a whole bunch of money I have sitting from overseas. Well, if you're getting the visa in your own country, they'll be looking at the bank accounts in your own country, which then gives you 12 months to sort it out when you get here. When you do the OA visa here, I really don't know how well that works, right? But I would imagine, because the fact that most people, when they're doing the OA visa, they come for their 3-month tourist visa, and technically they can't open a bank account. So how can they show money to support themselves? Because they can't have an Australian or an international bank statement. It has to be sort of authorised, and what's that law term? Where it gets looked over by a lawyer and stamped. They call that
certified.
Certified is not quite the word I'm thinking of. It's anyway, but it has to be sort of, you just can't print it out from the website, because
No.
you've got to have it from bank letterheads and shit like that in your home country, and it can be quite difficult. But again, most people get around that requirement by getting a Thai bank account before they get here, or on a previous visit, through some sort of weirdness, and then they get the money in there, and then they can go and show that the money's in the bank when they go and do the visa upgrade in country. But as I said, I've never really sort of met anybody that talked that through in any sort of logical form, because really, when it has been talked about, we're usually drunk by that time, and it doesn't make sense. But yeah, there are steps, but we have to do a police report when you're in a home country. I don't know how do they do a police report here? Do you go to
You don't have to.
You don't?
No.
If you're here, no police report and no medical checkup.
Yeah.
Is that
So
right?
all you need
Okay.
to show when you're here is the money in the bank, 800,000 for 2 months prior. If you're doing it here in this country, if you're doing it in your home country, then you need the medical checkup, the police background check. You need to show that you've got the income in various forms. So,
Yeah.
and now you need the medical insurance if you're in your home country.
Yes.
So remember that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too hard to type
Just
my
get an
response
L4.
here. That's all right. Okay. I've never had any transactions on my visa, never had a problem. Yeah, Robert might just be a different case. Like he's, they just know him. But yeah, there are again. It's how you dress, how you look, how you approach
Yes,
them.
we spoke about that the other week.
It's
Yeah.
Mayor Groves, like they're not going to upset the Puyai of wherever he lives.
Mayor of Cha-Am.
The mayor of
Yes.
Charles.
Yes. Yes.
Do you fill out the fill out the TM7 when? What I do is I have a pre-printed copy, in my little, I just have that folder. It just sits on top of my printer here. That's my folder. It's where my passport lives. I can easily find it. It's yellow. Even colourblind, I can find it easily enough. And I have a pre-printed copy. It just doesn't have the date. It doesn't have the date on it.
Yeah.
But they've never been asked for it. If they ask, because it's always the same details, isn't it? If they do ask me to fill it out, I can just give them a nice printed copy and just put the date on top and sign it. But they've never asked. Whereas places like Pattaya and Bangkok, there's a lot of people being asked to fill it out. I remember when I first came here, 2016, there was another form. They wanted all your social media pages and everything else, but I think that pretty much got canned after about 12 months as well. That'd be a separate form again. It had social media and other contact details and what colour underpants you were wearing, and but I think it just got a little bit too, privacy related that they canned that whole idea. But I went through that one back in the day. You cannot get an OA visa in Thailand. You must
No,
apply.
you cannot. It's the O visa in
It's
Thailand.
the O visa, yes, it's slightly
Correct.
different visa, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yes, Billy, term 7 required for I plan to do this. Okay, I plan to do it this year, apply for the retirement visa, then going through the visa, then go through the visa, they want 30k baht. Well, yeah, again, pay the money and it gets done for you. Jerry uses an agent, don't you? Yeah.
No, not anymore. I only used it twice when I got kicked out of the country. I
Hmm.
needed to.
Hmm.
But I had done it by myself prior, and then now I've got the LTR, and I did that all on my own. So,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
A lot of people, I think, in your chat group, or in your coffee group, they're using agents.
Yes, a
And,
bunch of people do, a bunch of people don't. It just depends on their needs.
And Todd
Using
Daniels,
it- you-
Todd Daniels is
Todd
our
Dan-
he's our guy, and he knows all the people. So, who's the best agents to use and such. You just got to get into the Friday meetup,
Yeah.
If a person has the money in the bank and the insurance, but they want help just going through the process, the paperwork, and they want someone to hold their hand there, Todd Daniels. He's
Yeah.
the least expensive, and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But if you need to have someone put the money in the bank for you, the underhanded way, I can't talk about that because I don't know who to go to, but I know other people do.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it at that. But Todd Daniels, if you've got the money and you just need the help, because it's a pain in the butt if you don't speak the language, he's the guy to use.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, let me just quickly get up to meetup.com just so I can get your
Yeah. But mind you, and I haven't dealt with Chatachak or Chonburi, I've not had any issues going in and doing it myself.
Right.
If you've got all your ducks in a row, you're following the bouncing ball with what they provide you, 98% of the time you'll be fine. There will be quirks at each individual immigration centre. I will throw that in. I had a quirk when I did mine in November last year. I followed their bouncing ball, similar to what we did the year before was and everything, and they threw a curly at me. They wanted a printed copy of last year's insurance, because I had a printed copy of the insurance renewal and everything like that, but I didn't.
Why?
Didn't ask why. I said,
I know.
I said, I'm sorry, I don't have a physical. I've got it on email. Can I email it to you? Oh yes. Here's my email address. And then she printed off the one page she needed, and then it took an extra 2 minutes, but all in total, it took me 15 minutes to get my renewal done.
Now,
Well,
where did you say-
yeah, go on.
Where did you say you did that?
I did that in Rayong.
Yeah. We hear all the time how outside of Chiang Watana, it's easier if you've got your ducks in order. And
Yes.
I agree with that. But when you go to Chiang Watana, you never know what's in store. The first 3 years I did it, I had everything, and they kept throwing monkey wrenches, like you said. Okay, we'll do that, and got it done. But it can be frustrating, especially if you've got the language barrier. That being said, if you have somebody that can go with you that speaks Thai and you've got everything done properly, you'll get through it.
Yeah.
Todd Daniels is a great help for the price he charges. It makes life easier. But if you need a visa agent and you spend the 25 to 30,000, there's a reason for that. I'm all for that if that makes your life easier. And by the way, just one last thing, the Chiang, at least I'm only going to speak Chiang Watana. They like you using an agent. One, because they know everything will be done correctly, and two, for another reason that I won't bring up live.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Just use an agent if you're in Bangkok region. I never used an agent, but I had challenges, and of course, as Todd sort of said, when I moved provinces, I went in for that renewal in September. That was 2 years ago, and I had just the payment schedule for my health insurance, which was the same as health insurance I had before. And again, they said something similar. Have you got the full prospectus, which is 47 pages long? I'm going, I really didn't think you needed that. I can email it to you. And she says, yeah, okay, please. And they did. I emailed it to her and they printed all 47 pages out.
Yeah.
And they spent 30 minutes going through the whole freaking thing, So it took 30 minutes longer that time around. But in subsequent ones, I just take the whole, because like they do mail it out. But in that case, I didn't think they'd need it because it's just it's just advertising and the fine print, and really it's a Thai insurance company that you recommended out of the 12 out of the list original ones that you recommend, come on, but they'd never seen one before,
Here's the flip side. When I did the LTR, all I had to do was give them the cover page from
Yeah.
AIA,
Mhm.
how much insurance I have, signed by them and
Yep.
stamped, and that was it. They never asked for anything else. So it varies depending on the day, the month, the year, and who and where.
Anyway, we're coming up to the 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock mark. I did want to mention that I put the link up there for meetup.com, French Funds Bangkok. Look at that, 8,726 members now. Oh my God. Thankfully, they're not all thankfully, they're not all there at once. We normally, you get 30 to 40 people turning up to that now. And then, of course, Starbucks are giving you a bit of heat these days, aren't they?
Oh, just that one day, the guy came in and asked me to please ask 45 people to please be quiet. I looked
be
at him
quiet.
and he said, can you ask your group to be quiet? And I looked and I said, no, I can't. And he got flustered. And he said, well, some of us are trying to work. I said, I'm not going to ask them to be quiet.
And they
It's
wanted
a coffee shop, not an office space.
Yeah.
Find somewhere else.
and they wanted you to put all the seats back or something too, didn't they?
Say that again?
They wanted you to pull the seats back because they have they all the different. You said something.
Well,
because we move all the seats around everywhere into big groups and shit like that, and then somebody has to go and put them all back in the little cubicles. And
the outcome was Bank, who was the manager, the Thai manager, came over and spoke to me later, and we talked. And he said, "Look, I get it. You're here once a week for 2 hours. It's okay." And now we're friends. We talk every time I come. And last week I asked him, I told him we have about 40 people coming. Is that okay? He said, yeah, no problem. This week we had about 35, 36, so they're fine. I'm sure the business helps them a lot.
So one last question. Now that you have got over the line, are we going to see some live streams from Jerry?
Nah.
That'll build your channel. Come on.
Challenge is on.
The challenge is on.
Send me my GoPro thing and I'll become a YouTuber.
Hey, you know what? We can ask. Waza, what was that Osmo Project 3?
I don't know. I'd have to go to the DJI one.
The question, if anybody out there has used it, please share some feedback as to whether you like it or not. It looked pretty damn good.
I know Tim had the Osmo 2, and he raved about it.
This one was the 3. Let me see, I got it.
Yeah, the new Osmo. This one here, the Osmo Pocket 3. I do like the full 16:9 format on the front of it, but I'm not going to go and spend another 18,000 baht on a new freaking camera. I've got enough cameras as it is, and I'm doing all right. There's nothing wrong with my footage as far as I'm concerned.
You did good. Yeah.
I need to start a YouTube channel on repairing old Commodore 64s.
That'll rock.
I don't know whether it will, but that's one of the hobbies between flying and everything else, and I just want to keep my brain active, so that's what I'm doing.
All right, wait a minute. You missed an important thing here. You should be YouTubing how to get your pilot's license here. That thing would be awesome. And you can start right now with it. And I'm telling you, man, you hit a niche. You would hit a niche with that, and it might take off.
Well, take off, yes, excuse the pun. I'd rather concentrate on flying than looking at a camera and trying to do a narrative of what I'm doing. So,
Exactly, yeah.
Safety-wise, and just the way I was trained originally in Australia, safety is paramount. It's not like driving a car where if something happens, you can put the brake on and you will stop on one plane. Flying a plane itself or an airframe, it's 3D. There is no level plane until you're on the ground.
Fair enough. But boy, it would still make a great channel.
Yeah,
well,
Billy, just install the Discord app on your phone and come and chat with us. It's all right. We won't bite hard. Anyway, come on. I think it's time to wrap this thing up and get out of here. I want to do some flying. Yeah, flying pretend spaceships, that is. Um, anyway, so look, again, another interesting chat dynamic going on today. You know, like it's always when Todd's here, I can't think of what things to talk about myself. And your health is a lot better these days. We found some new,
Yeah.
we found some new medications. Yes.
I'm getting old, that's all.
Yeah.
I'm getting old. I've come to the realization I ignored the grey hair.
Yeah.
That'll help.
Yeah, Lau helps too. And so does Beer Chung when I visit Mayor Groves. It's the realization that I'm not the teenager. Even though I'm in a teenage paradise, I cannot behave like a teenager anymore.
Well, we are bringing back one of the old statements: growing old is mandatory, growing up is optional.
It's optional, yeah.
Okay, and that's really, I'm sticking to that one. Anyway, we're out of here. We'll catch you next week. Hopefully, we'll get a stream. We'll try to get a stream from Sukhothai on Monday night with you. So if you're around Monday night, it'll be pretty cool to have you join us. But yeah, so there's a couple of I've got to stitch the video. Well, I've got like an hour, almost 45 minutes of video from yesterday we shot.
Yeah, so don't go flying.
No, I'll do that tonight. Come on. I've
I'll
got
do it
time zones.
tomorrow.
I got people from all around the world who want to fly, you know, and you've got to get the time. God, you have no idea how difficult gaming is, you know, when you got people from across the world.
It's not like Pac-Man.
That's it. Yeah, quite to coordinate everybody. Anyway, we're going to get out of here. Get out of your face, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Peace out, guys. Stay cool. Lit. What are the young people saying these days? Lit and
No, they say Jim.
yeah, I'm sure they do.
No, Yan. Stay cool. Yan, cool.
Okay, we're out of here. Bye bye.
I want you to lift me up so high, a place that no one's ever